For the Crypto Goon, and shout out to all my Crypto Goons for pulling up once again. How not to lose your money in crypto. Now, I have a lot of people that hit me up from this crypto channel and from my larger channel about cryptocurrency exchanges and wallets and, offshore situations going on. I've had people hit me about Coinbase, crypto.com, Kraken, all of these different brokerages, exchanges, and all of these different wallets and say, hey, I lost my money, can't find my money's stuck, they won't let me withdraw, they won't let me do this, they won't let me do that. What the cryptocurrency market is going through right now is what the forex market went through in the early 2000s, okay? Now, I started learning to trade in the early 2000s, okay? That's why a lot of this is not new to me. That's why, you never see me get excited or marry any cryptocurrency or any platform. See, here's the thing. I graduated high school in 2005, okay? Stick with me now. I'm going to explain to you what is happening, why it's happening, and how it will change, and what you can do. I graduated high school in 2005, okay? When I went to college in 2006, I had a college professor. I used to work for her. Her husband had a lawn business, so I used to work for her husband while I was in college. And, I went to college for business. She was a business professor. She owned a business, obviously. So she was teaching us business. Well, she happened to meet this guy that was a forex trader, and he was making a lot of money, right? So she actually introduced me to the forex market, to the guy, and he taught us a little bit, and was basically like, here. So essentially, like anybody else, I went to the library, checked out books. Back then, I think we had Yahoo. I think this was before Google, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. And I would look up forex trading strategies, the brokers you could use. Back then we had FXCM. There was another one, I think it was called IBFX. There wasn't the ones that we have now, like Oanda and forex.com. They weren't around yet or as big when it comes to being a forex broker. Now, back then in the forex market, okay, the leverage was crazy, right? The leverage was like 1 to 100, 1 to 1,000, right? So if you put $10,000 in there, it was almost like you was trading with $1 million, right? And then we also had on the flip side, offshore, we had these things called binary options, where it was like trading options, but with forex, right? Now back then, forex wasn't as heavily regulated as it is now, which is the mirror to crypto. Like you see them trying to pass laws and stuff now, but that's good. But it's not heavily regulated like the forex market is right now, right? So back then, this is why I learned a lot of things, right? This is how long I've been doing this. This is how I can, post charts on TradingView and say, hey, this cryptocurrency right here, it's gonna go down, and then it goes down, right? Because this is how long I've been around trading, period, right? I don't trade stocks, but I'm into the exotic stuff. So with the forex market back then, right? Well, I actually introduced it to my friends, right? So my friends, they all hustlers, right? So they got into it. They're gamblers, they're hustlers. Like they were like, okay, I can see how this could work, right? So I had a friend, everybody has a friend or knows somebody that's like good as shit at just anything they do. They just, they can just hit a fucking lick easily, right? So I introduced one of my friends to it, and I introduced him to binary options, and then that was Markets World, that was Stock Pair, and I introduced him to FXCM, right? So on both platforms, right, he was hitting licks, right? I think he might have put in like $5,000, and the leverage was crazy, right? Right now overseas you can get that forex leverage, but in America that forex leverage is not legal. American brokerages cannot do that. Okay, so he hitting licks, 20 bands, 50 bands, right? He running accounts up to 100,000. So this is when the learning process kicked in. So one of the homies was like, hey, why don't you withdraw that shit? So my homeboy went there and was like, all right, let me get 60 racks. Tried to withdraw 60 racks, right? From FXCM and from, I think it was Markets World, one of the overseas brokerages. And what ended up happening was it was processing, and then they killed the withdrawal. So the money ain't go nowhere, right? And they didn't have to pay them out, neither brokers, because they weren't heavily regulated. Now here's the lesson in that. What we learned was you have to slow milk these exchanges and these offshore crypto platforms. And back then it was forex. So instead of trying to withdraw 60, it's like, all right. So I remember one week out. This is when I started working. I was at work. I put in like 1,500. I ran that 1,500 up to like 8,000. Right. So I said, all right, let me start taking some money out. So I would lose like $200 and then withdraw 1,000. Lose a couple hundred, withdraw 1,000. Hit their ass again, boom. For extra like 6, 7,000. Then withdraw 1,000. Lose a couple hundred, then withdraw 1,000. Right. So I was slow milking them, and my homeboy tried to pull out all that money, and they was like, nope. And comparing that to right now, I hear people that come up on some of these coins, on some of these platforms, off the meme coins. Then they'll convert it to like Ethereum or something, send it to Coinbase, and they got a couple 100,000, and then they try to pull all the money out of Coinbase at one time, and Coinbase is like, red flag, stop, right? And with these cryptocurrency exchanges, there is no central location for them, right? So, for example, back before Charles Schwab acquired, what is it, TD or Thinkorswim, whatever, they used to have offices around my way. You could pull up to, right? And even with them, if you hit a lick on Charles Schwab or Robinhood, like they'll pay out, right? Because they're heavily regulated. But when it comes to the crypto market, I don't care if it's an American brokerage, an overseas platform. If you hit a big lick, you have to slow milk them out. You can't just try to come in there, take all the money out, and then just see you. Like they don't have to give you the money, whether it's Coinbase or Kraken or crypto.com. If you look it up, everybody, or a lot of people, not everybody, I've never had a problem, but a lot of people have problems getting large sums of money out of a lot of these exchanges because it's not heavily regulated yet. Right. So what ended up happening with the forex market, with FXCM was the biggest brokerage back then. And what FXCM was doing was, number one, if you hit a lick, they weren't trying to give you money. You can get a little bit out, but they weren't trying to give you a big bag. But FXCM would look at all of their clients and say, okay, this many people are long on, let's just say USD JPY. This many people are short on USD JPY. So what they would do is, all right, where's the most money? The most money is saying is going up. They would take your money and their money and bet against you and push the market down so that they can have a reason to take your money. So that's why FXCM ended up getting banned. Although they're an American brokerage, they can't do business in America. You can actually look this up. This was on the news. They can't do business in America because of that, because that's what they were doing. They make money off of spreads, kind of like how Coinbase makes money off of like the fees, like when you swap or when you buy and sell. That FXCM makes money off of spreads. Right. So if the market is at $1.25, the spread may be $1.27. So you're paying that in between price. Right. So that's why FXCM, I think like around like 2012, 2013, 2014, somewhere in there, that's when Congress came and passed a whole bunch of laws and made a lot of the stuff that they were doing illegal. And then that's when we had the new brokerages come out, Oanda, forex.com. Right. And they killed the leverage, too. So what's going on in crypto right now is the same thing, right? Even though Coinbase is the biggest and, the American brokerage, their customer service is trash. Crypto.com, their customer service is trash or non-existent. I mean, they have it, but it's like, it's not really helpful. There's no office you can go to. There's no real phone, people you can call and actually, get on the line and get things sorted out. They make it difficult because they don't have to make it easy for you yet. It's not like it's Robinhood or Charles Schwab where it's like, oh, okay, well, now that we're regulated, we have to do these things, right? Because the regulatory authority, if we want to continue to do business and make money in the United States, we have to abide by those rules. Well, crypto right now doesn't really, those rules are kind of loose right now, right? And at the same time, unfortunately, a lot of stuff has to happen to people for the rules to be put into place because the governing body has to learn what to put in place, right? Just like how they did with the forex market. And it's a learning experience for everybody, even people that are new. But the thing is, I've seen this already. I've seen this, through the years of the forex market. So that's why you don't see me be as excited as everybody else because I've already seen how this plays out, right? And even like with some of the companies that I talk about on my channel, I slow milk them. You see, when I'm doing the video, I'm taking out $200. I made like, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 in like 14 days. But I didn't say, oh, let me get that entire 8 G's. Let me get that. I didn't do that. I slow milked them 200, 300, 500. You know, you got to slow milk them because if you raise a red flag, they're going to freeze your account. You know, and here's the other thing, right? And even if I think even with some of these crypto exchanges using VPNs trying to hide your IP address, right? It raises a red flag in their system because they think that you're trying to commit fraud, right? Or you're trying to hide something, right? So a lot of these exchanges, these wallets, you know, they either try to block you or they'll try to freeze your funds if you're using VPNs too, right? So there's layers to this thing and there's game that you got to learn. And unfortunately, nobody on the internet's really going to teach you because a lot of these guys are new themselves, right? You know, how I grew up with forex, they're growing up with crypto. So once crypto goes through what it goes through, it becomes regulated. Then, you know, they'll be the OGs of that space and they'll know, all right, you know, these are the things, you know, that we can't do anymore that you got to watch out for, right? So, you know, most people really don't know these things. And that's why I don't get excited about any crypto platform. I don't get excited about, you know, any new cryptocurrency because I've seen all of this before. You know, I'm 37. I was born in 1987. So I saw the dot-com bubble. I saw the rise and fall of how big FXCM and IBFX was in the forex market. I've seen these things already. That's how I can look at these markets and say, no FOMO over here because I've seen this, right? Forex ended up becoming one of the most heavily manipulated markets once the banks got into it, right? Because foreign currency was really just, you know, the exchange and have a real, you know, like a real, how can I explain it? Like you're going to have a real workflow or you know, paperwork, paper trail behind a meme coin in the future. They're going to make it a lot tougher. These companies that allow you to create meme coins and put them on these networks, they're going to in the United States, they're going to make those, you know, illegal or regulate them in some capacity. Because, you know, it really, just think about it. The meme coins that they make no fucking sense. Like, honestly, like there's no technology behind it. Like the same thing with the little pictures that people used to buy back during the pandemic. I can't think of the name of it. Somebody put it in the comments. You know, the little crypto pictures you would buy and everybody's shit just went to zero. Like, you know, like stupid shit like that, right? So at the end of the day, you know, it's all a learning experience. And that's why I'm making this video, because you're not going to see anybody in the crypto space even talking about this shit, because most of them either don't know or they weren't even around, you know, trading back then. So I just want to just bring this to y'all. I hope it's something that helps. Again, when it comes to a lot of these platforms, you got to slow milk them. You know, if you make $1 million through a wallet and you send it over to Coinbase, you try to take out $1 million, most likely they're going to flag your account. Okay, you got to slow milk it. If you put $1 million in there, take out like 20 racks. You know what I mean? Next day, take out 50. That's what I was doing with, you know, the binary options and these forex brokers. Like, it's like, okay, that's the game y'all want to play. I'm gonna get this money one way or another. So I just slow milked them. I didn't raise any red flags. I would withdraw in the range of the same amount every day or every other day or every week, so that no red flags went up and they wouldn't pay attention to it. But I don't care what crypto wallet or what brokerage, what exchange you put money into. If you put in $1 million, $2, $3 million into an exchange, you know, after you transferred it from a wallet because you hit on a meme coin and you try to take all that money out at the same time, they're going to flag it. They're going to flag it guaranteed. And you're going to have to go through a whole bunch of red tape just to be able to get the money. But it's a lot easier if you slow milk it, right? If you have a wallet that you trust, send over 100,000. Now just eat off that. All right, today I'm going to take out 10 racks. All right, boom. Tomorrow I'm gonna take out 5. Then next week I'm gonna take out 20. You know, then another 10. And you gotta slow milk that shit so it won't raise any red flags, right? So in the future, you won't have that. You won't have to worry about that, right? Like if you make $1 million on Robinhood from options, you can withdraw that, no problem. Same thing on Charles Schwab, no problem, because they're heavily regulated by a governing body that's not gonna play that shit with them. But anyway, I hope this is something that helps, and I hope you learn something. Sorry for going off on a tangent, but this is something that I'm passionate about and something that I actually know about. And again, this is not financial advice. Don't be stupid. It's your boy, the Crypto Goon, the one, never the two. I appreciate all my goons. Crypto Goon, out.